Well, hello, all my friends and family out there. It is your virtual cruise host, Jason Venner, back again with another exciting all access pass from home. Today, I am joined by another legend. I know it's broken record. I get to keep saying that. What a job I have during this whole debacle of a world pandemic we're in. I'm sitting with the one and only Mr. Jay Siegel of Jay Siegel's Tokens. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. I guess I'm doing the best I can during this unbelievable time in history. We're doing the best we can.
It's pretty much the standard answer, I think, for anybody right now. I say, "How are you?" and everyone goes, "I mean, I'm here." You
Here's
know.
what I did this morning. I got up from bed. I went into the bathroom and I looked into the mirror just to make sure I was still here.
Yeah.
And it looked like me, so I think I'm still here.
My grandfather used to say all the time that whenever he woke up, and I know it's an old one, but he goes, "Whenever I wake up and nothing hurts, I have to pinch myself to make sure I didn't die in my sleep." Yeah, exactly. Oh man, well, you and I were just kind of chatting before this, and I've got to say to all the folks watching, whether the folks watching are from the Malt Shop Memories cruise or tuning in as other music fans or other cruises, one of the things that I love about you truly, truly is that not only are you a musical legend, obviously you have a huge influence on music and it goes through producing, creating yourself and whatnot, but you really are a humble guy. You've said it with me on stage before, and I know, just talking about it before, you're really just you're a human at the end of the day.
Anytime I hear somebody say you're a legend, well, the legend this week vacuumed the house because I had to have something to do, and I really looked forward to vacuuming. It was a great, I had a purpose. I vacuumed the house, just like anybody else out there. Like I say, like I've told Jason before, I'm just like you guys who are watching. I just have a different kind of job, and fortunately, it's the kind of job that really makes people happy. Yeah. And I say, well, what a great job I have. I make people happy. I can't have a better job than that.
When you were just a pup, did you have that dream, not necessarily music, but of making people happy? Has that always been something for you, or is that a byproduct of becoming a musical legend?
No, actually, a legend. There you go again.
I'm going to keep using it, sir.
I also took out the recycled on Thursday and the garbage.
I'm sure you did it in a legendary fashion.
Yes, so. I wore this nice red shirt.
Yes.
No, when I was a kid, I always loved music, but I never thought it would be, a vocation or a career for me because, when I was growing up in the neighborhoods that I grew up in, everybody went to work just to be able to pay the bills. It was a job, and any kind of job that anybody would have that they would enjoy doing or going to work wouldn't be a job. It's not a job. Yeah. How could you have a job that you love to go to? So I'm so lucky that, I have a job and I love to go to work. It's terrific. I still look forward to it to this day.
That's amazing. Now, I know a lot of people know this about you, but just in case, we're going to go back in history. I don't want to spend a lot of time back there because I want to kind of talk to you about today, but you and Mr. Neil Sedaka were friends. You guys went to high school together. You started the group and you guys were the Link Tones, which eventually then became the Tokens. Am I correct in that?
You are very correct. Neil and I, Sedaka, we started the group back in 1864, right after the
You guys were just about 20 at the time, right?
It was in when I was a junior in Lincoln High School in Brooklyn. Neil wanted to put together a group, I started as an a cappella group, and I went over to his house. He lived about 3 blocks from where I lived, and I sang a few songs. He sat at the piano, and I made the audition, and that was the beginning of the Link Tones, Lincoln High School Link Tones, yep. And down the road, the Link Tones evolved into the Tokens, and I still speak with Neil Sedaka all the time. We see each other a few times a year, and he's still a very close friend of mine and a great influence, in my life. I think if it wasn't for Neil Sedaka, we probably would not be talking right now.
That's a heck of a statement. I mean, he's known for a lot of things, and he's obviously a wonderful, wonderful person. And we're blessed to have him on the Malt Shop cruise. What a kind and just a sweetheart of a man. Just a really nice man.
One of the high points of one of the Malt Shop cruises that I was on, and Neil Sedaka was on. He was doing his show, and he called me up on stage, and I sat down at the piano with Neil, and we sang a song that we used to sing in high school. And the people, the audience just loved it. They just loved it. And it was very emotional for me, you know.
Sure.
Very emotional. Yeah, Neil, I love Neil Sedaka. I love the guy.
There's a personal touch to that. You know, it's, and this is one thing I say about the cruises a lot, and I'm sure you can identify with, having been on a few of them, is people will book the cruise because the headliners are listed, right? You know, they want to go see Jay Siegel's Tokens. They want to see Neil Sedaka. They want to see Bobby Rydell or, you know, Avalon or whoever they're going to see. But it's what happens in between those big moments that make the difference between being just an event and something that you don't want to miss. It's to your point, it's Sedaka calling you on stage to sing a song you guys used to sing in high school. That's not in your show or his show. That's a momentary thing that just has to pop up. And it wouldn't happen if you guys weren't in the same place at the same time, and et cetera, et cetera. It's the things in between that really make the Malt Shop cruise and, you know, all the different cruises so unique.
Yeah. That moment, that little deal we did together on stage was one of the high points of my life. Same thing happened. We did a show. One time I went to see my old friend Tony Orlando, which, you know, I produced.
You produced a lot for them, yeah.
A lot of his records, and sang on a bunch of his records as well, doing a lot of the background vocals. And I was in the audience, and he too called me up on stage, and we sang a song together, and just the people just loved it. And it was just a great moment. Like what you said, Jason, these are things that are not rehearsed. They just happen, and it's just a great moment in time.
You know, that's something that I really, truly admire about you, and something I love about you is that the moment isn't lost on you. And I've had chats with you on stage before, and we've kind of talked about this, but, you know, yes, you are a regular human. You just have a different job, of course. But at the same time, you are a star. You are someone whose people love. You've sold millions of albums. You have songs that will resonate with people throughout history, right? You know, we can't pretend that you're somebody that won't be remembered. But with all of that said, you're still a fan. You're still someone that gets goosebumps to go up and perform with Neil or Tony or somebody like that. And that's a testament to you as a person. I think that's wonderful.
You know, when we did these shows, as the Malt Shop cruise especially, and there's these great acts on the show that we all grew up with. I watch every one of those shows. It's not that, oh, I've seen it already. No. I still get excited to see Gladys Knight. I mean, fabulous Gladys.
I can't wait
Knight.
to have Gladys.
Or the Righteous Brothers. These guys, I know these people forever, but I'll still stay in the wings or you know, be in the audience and enjoy it as much now as I did, you know, then when we all started together.
So one of the things that we get guest comments on a lot is visibility of stars. And on Malt Shop Cruise specifically, a lot of the stars are incredibly, I'm going to use the word attainable because I don't know a better word. You guys are out and about. You're not hiding in rooms. You're very attainable. You're very, you know, approachable is a better word for it, I guess. Okay. You're out a lot. And I've said that about you from the first time I sailed with you, which was years ago. You're out a lot. You know, I see you 6 times a day, and half the time you're just walking down a hallway or coming from the Lido or going to and it's, hey, hey, Jason, and you're on your way. That's a huge thing for guests. What do your fans mean to you? Why is it important for you to stay out and about and stay so visible and reachable?
I just want to show the fans, even though they look up to you, you know, they put you in a different category. But I said, listen, like I said, we're the same. We're the same. And you know, the thing is, when on the Malt Shop cruise, where you get to see, you know, 2,000 people that are all fans out there, and they'll come over to you, you know, and they all say the same thing. Listen, I hate to bother you, but would you take a picture of it? And I say the same thing. When people stop bothering me, then I'll stay home and I won't do anything. So it's not a bother to me at all. It's an honor that they come over and ask to take a picture with me or you know, or sign an autograph. It's no bother, because when they stop doing that, I'll stay home.
Well, we cannot have an interview with you without chatting for a moment about Lion Sleeps Tonight. Obviously,
I remember that.
yeah. Do you remember? I can't remember who did it, but it's a great song. And if you ever get a chance,
The
look
high
at
guy with the high
yeah,
notes. Yeah.
yeah, with the rubber bands around his. It's what a huge hit, and it's had a complete resurgence, obviously, relatively recently with the re-release of Lion King and its
Yeah.
popularity. And tell us a little bit about that song in the beginning, and just about the. I mean, that song's been that was what 61, I think 61. That song came out
the end of 1961,
61.
and it remained on the charts for 3 months. Sold a few million records. It took 4 weeks for the record to reach #1, and then it became a #1 record in 36 countries all over the world. But how did I first hear that? I was in high school, and I was a huge fan of folk music. And I was listening to the radio one day, and they were playing a cut from an album by one of the most famous folk groups of the 50s called the Weavers, Pete Seeger. And I heard this song called "Whim Away," and Pete Seeger had sung that all in falsetto. You know, but it wasn't "The Lion Sleeps Tonight." It was just "Whim Away" with a chant and a little falsetto thing. And I was like hypnotized by this piece of music, and I was able to sing. I could do that falsetto thing, and I just loved it, and I learned it, and I taught it to all my friends, you know, and we should sing it just for fun, you know. And
I think that still happens.
Yeah, well, I still sing.
People all over the world do it.
Yeah, and whoever knew, you know, in my wildest dream would I think all these years later that this record gets played every day somewhere in the world. It's funny, the thing that my wife and I, 2 years ago, on my bucket list, we took a trip. We took a safari to Africa. We went to Tanzania.
Oh, and how cool! That's beautiful.
For some reason, it was a trip that nobody else. You can't compare that to anything else. But somehow, one of the guys Googled me and found out who I was, and they all knew who I was. And
of course.
Here I am in Africa, you know, and I was like, it was overwhelming that they wanted to take my picture. They were Googling me. They're showing me on YouTube in Africa. I said, like, my God, this is unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. There's a kid from Brooklyn that kids are asking people are taking pictures of me in Africa, you know?
Yeah. It has to be surreal, especially with your humble nature. I mean, that's gotta it's, even though you know the size of the song, even though you know what it's meant, and your career in general, what it's meant, you know, you're obviously much bigger than just a song. That is the song I think that most people will associate. But, you know, as a producer, as a creator, you've done so much. There has to be a part of you that wakes up and still pinches himself a little bit and goes, wow, this is surreal almost.
Oh yeah, I can be listening to you know, driving in my car and listening to the 50s or 60s or 70s, and all of a sudden, you know, I'll hear 3 or 4 records that I'm either singing the background on or that I produced, and I said, I made that record. I produced that record. Well, I'm singing on that record, and I really don't realize it till I just hear it on the radio again.
Yeah.
Wow, I was very busy back then in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
So I got to ask the question that everybody wants to know, that high note, that high, the falsetto notes in Lion Sleeps Tonight is obviously one of the most iconic music moments. And I've seen you do it. How do you continue to hit the high note?
I have no idea. You know something? It still comes out effortlessly all these years later, and I still perform it in the original key that I recorded it in when I was only 12 years old. No, I think I was like 19 or 20. It's just I take care of myself, you know. I don't do any bad stuff. I don't go to bad places, and I just, you know, when I'm working, that's my job, and I love my job, and I love to do it. But when I'm not working, I go home and I'm a normal person. I vacuumed, I took out the garbage, and I take my wife to the supermarket, and I separate that. You have to separate. Some people I know in the business never separated. They're always on stage.
Sure.
When
Yeah.
I'm off stage, I'm off stage. That's the way my life has been.
I understand that intimately, that I have my wife makes fun of me all the time because I have a distinct on personality and I have a very distinct not on personality. And I don't have that on all the time factor. And I envy those that do. And I also feel bad sometimes for those that do. I love the fact that they can do that. But at the same time, I wish everybody had the ability to kind of shut down a little bit at times, and maybe they do or don't, but I have that too. So I understand intimately what you mean. It's
well, just to elaborate on what you just said. When people come to see me for the first time, and I get off stage and I said, I never knew that's you up there. I said, no, it's not me. This is me now. Yeah. Off the stage, this is me. That's another me. That's another me.
And
I'm not on all the time, believe me. I'm on. Yeah. I'm very on when I'm up there performing, but when I'm off, I'm off.
It's almost, I think people have a difficult time understanding clinically what introvert and extrovert mean. We think introvert means bad with people and extrovert means good with people, when clinically it doesn't mean that at all. It's how we expel and create energy and corral energy. And introverts are not most, that's unfair. A lot of performers that I know are clinically introverted. They go out, they give, and then they have to leave and get very quiet to regain their energy.
I was very quiet. I was extremely shy all through high school. I was never in a high school play. I was always backstage doing the lighting or the sound. I was very, very introverted and very shy. So people say, how could that be you up there? Because it's another me. It's not me. This is the real me. That's me also, but that's a different real me.
Yeah, it's the other real me. That raises an interesting question. For someone like you that's had such a wonderful career creating music for yourself and the tokens and also producing for others, do you prefer one side of the business to the other?
Well, there's gratification, of course, creating a star like a Tony Orlando or the Chiffons or the Happenings. Or, I made all those records, but there's nothing like the performance part of it. Yeah. Getting that energy from the audience and finishing a show and seeing them all stand up and just yelling, and it's the highest high you can ever achieve, and you can't really explain it to anyone unless they're doing it or they're living it. So I would think I would lean more to the performance side of it, but I love doing both things, being a creative producer.
And loving the performance as much as you do, how has it been for you? Let's transition to real world. How's it been for you? When's the last time you performed? And how's that, not to get deep on you, but how's it playing on your psyche to not be on stage?
March 1st.
March 1st.
Was the last show I did. And here's a funny story, how is it done? I called my old friend a couple of weeks ago, Bobby Rydell, old friend of mine.
God love Bobby.
Said, Bobby, you remember when you used to get up in the morning, take a shave, and then get some nice clothes together and pack it in a suitcase and go on a plane? And you remember when you did that and you went on stage and people yelled and screamed and it was a great, you remember that? So Bobby said, no. He said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, we're all going through the same thing, but this is
7 months ago.
It's very frustrating. It's boring. The thing about it, Jason, is that every day it sort of becomes the same. Sunday is the same as Wednesday. Saturday is the same as Thursday. There's nothing. We want to have something to look forward to. I'm so looking forward to this Malt cruise.
I know.
This one of the hype. I can't wait for that to happen. And people will see that because I'll be happier than they are.
You'll actually go back to your street corner performing days. We'll just find you in the Lido singing in the corner. Singing as they get their breakfasts. Yeah, it has to be. Do you find that this time is bringing out creativity that you haven't had for a while necessarily just because you have time to do it? Or is it purely at this point in your career just aching to get back out there?
More like aching to get back out there. While I still feel I have the ability vocally and physically, you know, I'm okay. When I'm, you know, when I'm up on stage, I just become 22 years old again. Right now, I'm my real age.
Yeah.
Stage, I lose about, you know, 50 years. Before you were even born.
Before you were born, kid, I've got underwear older than
You're a
you.
kid.
Let's talk a little bit about the malt shop experience. The malt shop memories cruise obviously is unique. Not to say there's not 50s, 60s music around the world. Of course there is, and if there's radio stations and different ways to see you guys in concert. But it is unique to see everybody together in one's place and to put together a crowd that gets to hang out for a week and experience the era, not just the music, but the era, and a lot of that feeling, kind of taking people back, obviously, is a big goal of ours when we produce the cruise. Going back to your first time on the cruise to now, what's it been like to watch it grow? What's it been like to feel that experience?
The most amazing thing is are the repeat guests that just come back year after year, and then you become, we're friends.
Yeah.
Hey Jay, how you doing? How's your wife? I said, you know, it's a great, it just has grown into like almost like a family, a great happy family there. You know what's the greatest part about it? To see 2,000 people smiling all the time and happy. I mean, where can I don't see that, you know, too much when I'm home.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not the supermarket. Yeah.
Just to be, you know, just to be with all these people that are so happy, and they're happy to see you. I'm happy to see them. And, you know, the other thing about the Malt Shop Cruise are the staff of the Malt Shop Cruise. The people like Alan Rubens, who you know, who has a major part of it, who, you know, he's also a fan. He's a great fan. And everybody who works for the company, for the Malt Shop Cruise, they are so accommodating. They're just great people, and they make it so easy for us, and they make us happy as well. So it's a pleasure to do that cruise. It's one of the greatest experiences that I've had. I can't wait.
You know,
I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, the folks at Star Vista are wonderful at what they do, without question. You know, and I think there's a realization there that, and this is going to sound a little contrived, but it's not meant to be, that the happier the star is from the early treatment, the better they are on the cruise. You know, if we can take care of the stars from zero to boarding, that star tends to board in a good mood and ready to go, and you know. Janine Morris and all that team.
It's all the you know, the work that goes before that, you know, the rehearsal time, and how the acts are regarded as far as how the meals are and how the backstage access is and everything. Like, it's just they just know how to do it. Yeah, they know how to do it.
That's great. I'm sure some of them are watching. I know a couple of them are listening in right now as we even chat. So I know that means a lot to them. Let's talk a little bit about the world as it is today. Obviously, we kind of talked about it in the beginning in terms of, you know, you're at the point where you're just looking forward to vacuuming. How are you occupying your time? Have you found any new hobbies? Have you found anything different to do during this?
Because I've had all this time, my wife and I just acquired a brand new member of the family. We just got a 4-month-old little poodle puppy.
Oh,
that's what I'm into now. I'm into training the dog, and I have a lot of time to, you know, beautiful weather. I don't know how happy I'll be in January.
Yeah, fair enough.
And you know, I've had dogs my whole life, and but I haven't had one for about 10 or 15 years. You know, and I lost the last one. It was a tough thing. You know, I thought, oh, I don't think I can go through this again. But I really missed it, and that's my new hobby. It's my new member of my family. Kiva, my new little miniature. Kiva, chocolate brown miniature poodle. And,
how cute!
And he's a lot of fun. And then, of course, vacuuming and going
and taking the recycling out.
Absolutely.
And pants one leg at a time.
No, Thursday's the garbage. Wednesday was recycled.
Got it. Sorry. Yes. I've got to learn. We actually, Thursday is our garbage recycling day too. I woke up this morning in a panic and had to run out and make sure I got it all out on time. How about your family? You know, I know you obviously you have a handful of kids and you have some grandkids in your life. How's everybody doing?
Well, everybody's good. You know, thank goodness that nobody, you know, no one got tested and was positive for the virus, as well as, you know, myself. We're all staying safe.
Good.
We're all doing the mask thing. We're all distancing. So everybody's taking care of themselves. And I have 3 kids, and I have Now I have 6 grandkids.
6, yeah.
6.
What do your grandkids call you?
Well, one of them calls Grandpa. A few of them
Grandpa.
call me Grandpa. Some of them call me Papa.
Papa, got
Papa,
it. Is there a differentiation? Is there a reason that some call you Grandpa and some call you Papa, or is
Well,
it just?
some of them that have 2 grandpas they have to have one house.
Yeah.
So one has to be Grandpa and the other one is Papa.
You got to have a pop and a grand. Yep, understood. You got to be able to differentiate.
I tell this on stage, but my granddaughter, who's now she's 22 years old now. When the Lion Sleeps Tonight was a hit for the 2nd time, when The Lion King came out, it was an international hit again. She was in kindergarten, and none of her friends in her class, believed that her grandpa sang the song. So what she did one day, she brought me into her kindergarten class for show
and tell.
That was like, I'll never forget that. She's 23 years old now. I said, I speak about this. She's famous all over the world. I tell that story. People love that story. And it's true. That's, it's the truth.
Good for you for being a good pop to go in there and give her face in that class when she's losing face with all her friends. Yeah. That's great. Obviously, yeah, we're, this whole time is unprecedented. We're all going through a lot. And I think that it's great to hear that, you guys are healthy and you guys are doing well, that it's one of those things that as we all kind of sit around and have less to do, it's important, I think, that we take care of each other to a certain extent and we look out for one another. It's kind of that time frame. Well, before I let you go, I'd love to ask you a couple of unique questions. When you look back on your career, and I'm not saying it has to be one moment, but what do you want to be remembered for or as?
Oh, well, as an honest, nice, good person, more than the legacy of the music, which of course is just, I was a good friend, I was a good family man, I was a good father, I was a good grandfather, I was a good husband, and a decent human being. That's the most important thing to me. And of course, the career that everybody will remember, most of the records or a lot of the records that we made. And one of them, it seems to have a life of its own. It'll never go away. And like I say, I was in South Africa and here people are taking my picture. But, maybe that sounds corny or whatever, but no, that's the most important thing to me.
But that's a testament to who you are as well. And I've said that to anyone that will listen, and I've said it to you before, and I say it again, your humanity is part of why I think that, yes, the song has a life of its own, without question. Yes, Lion Sleeps Tonight is going to, we're 60 years in, and it's still going strong, right? But you're a part of that. It's not in spite of you. It's because of you in a lot of ways.
Well,
and,
that's very nice, Jason.
Well, I mean that. I have the honor of working with a lot of stars and legends, and I don't take that for granted. And I'm very aware when I'm working with someone and talking with someone or befriending someone that honestly it never got bigger than them. There are people that it gets bigger than.
Yes,
there are people that, yeah, I'm sure you do. And you see it happen, and it's, you hate it, but you understand it. And and at the same time, those that it hasn't gotten over, if you will, I feel like it's important that, even somebody like me has a chance to say to you, and I know, but it's important for me to say to you that it is you who continues the legacy of that song. It's you are Jay Siegel of the Tokens. It's not just Lion Sleeps Tonight. So
now you're embarrassing me. But it's nice to hear, but thank you very much, Jason.
You deserve it. So obviously you want to be remembered as a great person, which I have no doubt will happen. Let's transition that to professionally. If you can't take anything personal, if I say professionally, what's a proud accomplishment or one of your most proud accomplishments? Let's remove Lion Sleeps Tonight. Outside of that, professionally, is it some of the producer credits? Is it other songs? Is it friendships? What's your professional remembrance?
Being part of a group, the Tokens, that were the first group in history, the first vocal group to produce a #1 record for another vocal group. And that was when we went into the studio with our instruments. We were the band, and we produced He's So Fine by the Chiffons.
Chiffons.
And when that hit #1 and hit a gold record, that was an amazing, amazing thing. That, hey, we just made these 4 girls from the Bronx, New York, who came up to our office on their lunch hour. They worked for the telephone company, and they sang a few songs for us. And we said to each other, the guys in the group, I said, we think they have the potential. We think that they could make it. And we made a lot of hit records with the Chiffons, and and also the first records that we ever produced, that the first ones that came out, like when we did See You in September with The Happening, and that was a major hit, or of course, Candida with Tony Orlando, and Denise, Denise by Randy and the Rainbows. We produced those records. We played the instruments. We were the band. We helped with the background vocals, and that was that was a major part of my life, and that gives me a lot of pleasure when I hear those records on the radio.
That's fantastic. That's a cool aspect of your career. It's, to your point, it's one thing to hear your own songs, you specifically, like the Token songs or Jay Siegel songs. It's another thing to hear songs that you played a part in, that you produced or created or saw something and recognize that in somebody else. That's very unique. That's neat.
And the other thing is that the artists that I've shared the stage with, I mean, we one of the few people, I guess, we opened up for the Beatles in New York. Yeah. We worked with Little Richard. We worked with Jerry Lee Lewis. We worked with Chuck Berry. We worked with all the great icons of rock and roll. And just standing backstage and watching Little Richard, or watching Frank, I remember the old Alan Freed shows at the end. They used to do these Christmas and Easter shows in the Brooklyn Paramount, New York. Watching Jackie Wilson backstage, or watching Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. It was amazing. It was just amazing. We were all kids, but we were part of that. We were part of that. We didn't appreciate it then, I don't think.
I was just going to ask you, at that age, do you have the ability even to recognize that this is a lifelong recognition type career? I mean, does any of that play, or at that point, is it just here and now?
Not at all. Now it plays very loud, but not then. No. I don't know. We're all kids doing the same thing. We're making music and we're watching, our fellow artists, but never would ever think that, if I knew
60 years later.
It was great. It was a great experience.
Well, before we let you go, because I know there's probably some recycling or vacuuming or dishwashing or something to be done in the Siegel household.
You'll have to walk the dog.
You have to walk the dog. You have to walk Eva. Before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to share or say? I know obviously a lot of folks watching have been through some tough times, and people watching not only love you, but love the Malt Shop crews. They love the 50s, 60s era. And I think it's obvious that a lot of folks are pushing through a tough time, just like any of us, and some more so than others. But from someone like you talking to all the folks, any message you'd like to share?
I would just like to say, for, like myself, just stay safe, follow the rules, wear your mask, and look, this is going to be over. And look forward to this next Malt Shop cruise, because then everybody's going to be extremely happy, and we're going to have the best time. And for that period of time, you'll forget about all this stuff. You'll just be in the moment of being happy.
I know it feels like this is never going to end, and we've been dragging through it a little bit, but like everything, and as the cliche goes, this too shall pass, and eventually we'll get beyond. And I think, to your point, it's going to be pretty exciting. I've had a handful of big stars say the same thing, that, man, when we get back on stage, whoo, I tell you, we're going to have so much energy, and we're going to be so ready to get back out there.
I just hope that we all remember the words.
Yeah. The good news is the audience will if you don't. So I'm sure they'll fill in.
You're absolutely right, Jason.
Jay, you're absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. I really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Jason. You're the best. Regards to your beautiful wife, of course, and
yours as well.
I'll see you all on the Malt Shop cruise. You better show up, because if I'm going to be there, you better be there.
Great message. We appreciate you, Jay. All right, to all our folks out there, all our friends and fans, whether you are part of the Malt Shop Cruise or one of the other musical cruises that Star Vista Live produces and creates, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your virtual cruise host, Jason Venner, sitting alongside the one and only Mr. Jay Siegel. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Get out there, be safe, be smart, take care of each other. We look forward to seeing you again soon on another one of these chats, and if not that, certainly one of the cruises. Be well, my friends. See you soon.
Bye.